Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So this was a show just like all the others, pretty much. They they've been doing this as of late. They start off really strong in the beginning, and they end on such a low note. Um, I figured I'm not gonna waste a lot of time in this review because I figure I'm gonna repeat myself and this is the problem about returning back to Raw reviews and once again reviewing WWE. And I've been doing this since WrestleMania, pretty much going back to it. I didn't want to abandon wrestling. I also sort of missed it in some bizarre way. But the thing is, it's like this show. I mean, coming back to it's like I left for a couple of months, a few months. I come right back, and this show's pretty much the same exact thing. It's still laced with the same problems. We start off with Angle introducing the main event. We're gonna have Joe, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns. And this is a pretty good main event, I gotta say. They're getting everybody in there. You've got some big personalities in there, and you got Fat Boy Joe. Three superstars and one fat jobber, pretty much an overrated jobber. They had a big brawl at the end, and this was a great way to open the show. No doubt about it. A great segment, but that was it. We don't hear from anybody that was involved in this segment anywhere throughout the show. The first 10 minutes, that's it. That's all you get. And like these are the main eventers. These are the. There's no match. There's no follow up promo. There's no backstage beatdowns. There's no locker room interviews. There's no. You get some replays, and that's about it. And instead of having replays, why don't we have the wrestlers replay it, verbally and talk about it a little bit to add a little bit to it? Every single week, it's the same idea. Let's do this, then do this, and never go back to anybody else. The best you get is just a pre match promo, and that's the best you're going to get. Once in a while, they'll set up the main event in the opening promo, but that's all you'll get. You don't really feel a big sense of continuity and flow throughout the show like it used to be. Go back and watch any Raw on the network. Yes, even post Russo, you'll even see that there was a theme on these shows. They would keep layering the show and keep having the big stars. The big stars, they would not go away. They'd open the show and they would close the show. And you'd see them throughout, and it would be a developing story because that's how you tell a story. A story doesn't just begin and just end. You have to, there's layers to it. There's chapters, and every other TV show works this way. But for some reason, ever since the PG era, something happened when they went PG. They just wanted to have WWE's always been referred to as a variety show, and now it's really like a variety show. But I think even on some variety shows, they'd even go back to certain segments, throughout the show. Maybe not a lot, but it happened. It would happen sometimes, but most of the time, you just don't get it. It's just this is not how you write a TV show. This is just bad writing, is what it comes down to. Up next, you had Samson defeating Fuckboy over there, and it was a good match. Samson got the win thanks to Wyatt interfering. Um, it was a good match and everything, but you know you're just like intertwining once again two stories. They can't even focus on one. Uh, I don't understand what they're doing with Bray Wyatt. This guy wins the title at the beginning of the year, and now he's just in a feud with the fuck boy just randomly. It got canceled at first. Now it's back on again. Um, there was something that I didn't like about this feud, and I'll tell you the one thing that I didn't like is is Wade Keller on PW Torch once again gushing about fuckboy Balor, talking about how he'll be thanked for this match, and he puts like an exclamation point at the end of it. Balor will get credit for this match too. Like, calm down. Are you planning to ask this guy out on a date or something? I mean, like, he's completely fawning over the man. I don't get it. Triple H said one of the reasons why they pushed Balor is because the female fans in NXT liked Balor, even though like 90% of the audience are males for NXT. But somebody give Wade Keller the news flash that Balor isn't really geared towards him. That it's geared towards females. So why would you start gushing over this guy? So you're in love with a wrestler that was pushed because he has a strong, supposed female following, a strong female following. If that even is the case, I don't know where Triple H got that bullshit reason. And the other thing that I just hate the way how Keller talks. I gotta be honest. Every single time he does a Raw review, he's talking about how Samson had a clean and crisp offense, and that's what Vince looks for. Does he? I'll tell you something. Everything I've heard about Vince McMahon from people like Vince Russo and the rest of them, and Ed Ferrara, no, not and Jim Cornette, even Crazy Cornette. None of these guys ever said that Vince McMahon looks for crisp, clean offense. I don't think McMahon has that much of a hard on for good-looking wrestling moves. If he was that high on great looking wrestling moves, I don't think Hulk Hogan would have been champion for as long as he was. I don't think Hulk Hogan would have made it that far if the wrestling is what mattered. No, that's not what Vince looks for. Vince, if anything, looks for loyalty. He looks for an impressive, build on wrestlers. Now, I know he's been going against it, but you see, as of late, he has been going against that template that he has in his mind because of obviously crowning fuckboy Balor the Universal Champ. But you see this, you don't really trust any of these guys. They're a flash in the pan. They win a belt. Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, all these guys winning belts. It doesn't mean that they're in the upper echelon. Is Dolph Ziggler considered to be an upper echelon superstar? Is he a Hall of Famer? Because he, come on, look from this perspective. Many people have won the belt. That doesn't mean that McMahon is changing his perspective. There was huge fanboy outcries for Balor to beat Reigns and go on to SummerSlam last year. But now you clearly see a difference, guys. Look at the main event that we have planned compared to last year. Didn't Fuckboy and Rollins go on last? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But whatever. But look at the Universal title match at least. Look at the difference we have here. First, you had the Fuckboy and Rollins, and now you've got a fatal four-way match where all the guys are big dudes pretty much. Joe's not a giant, but everybody else is pretty big. They're either muscular or tall. And there you see it, guys. You see the difference where McMahon has woken up. So it ain't clean and crisp offense that's going to get people over. And I think that's the one glimmer of hope with this company. The difference in main events is a big difference. And that's kind of making me happy a little bit, just observing that difference of opinion, that maybe a different look on his company. Maybe he saw that didn't really work out. But whatever. Anyway, backstage, you had Emma talking to Angle, saying, she's been lost in the shuffle. No kidding. Emma's career has been a very interesting one. First we had this girl walking around with a fucking sock on her hand with Santino. They were kissing the socks, and it was weird as hell. She goes down to NXT. She starts wearing sunglasses, hanging around with Dana Brooke. And this was, this was a good look. They started having a storyline with Dana Brooke, but then, they did away with that. Then we had this whole Emelina thing, which was actually before that, but it just shows you how much of a mess it is. I don't even remember the whole thing, but the longest run that Emma had on TV without being taken off all of a sudden, without getting caned. And remember those old times, and then they pull you off stage with one of them big hooks. That's kind of like Emma's career. Everyone is going to remember her as the girl that had a relationship with Santino, where she was like having sex with the socks and stuff. It was weird. It was bizarre. It was, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it was memorable because I even remember it. And that's what we're going to remember Emma as. So Emma brings up an idea that would have actually made a creative story. She says to Angle backstage, "Oh, what if I start dating your son?" Well, instead of saying that, maybe they should have done that. Maybe she should have seduced Jason Jordan in the segment to at least get noticed. Maybe that would have been, something for Emma to do. Just give her something to do on the show. You have so many people just hanging around on the show doing absolutely fucking nothing. Give them a purpose so people care. People would then look at Emma and be like, well, hey, this is like, now she's dating Kurt Angle's son. But instead, it's just an idea that's thrown out there in a promo. It doesn't really mean much. Angle puts her in a match with Nia Jax, and that's all that comes of it. Up next, you've got Big Cass and Enzo. We're watching this match again. We just saw this match, and so he has to beat up Enzo again. So he beats up Enzo. He pins him. Big Show comes out. He beats up Big Show. It's deja vu. It's a repeat. We see this time and time again. We see the same matches we saw in the pay-per-view. They're going to repeat them with different little changes here and there, but no story. So what's next for Enzo? Enzo's not going to be on the team. He was already beat in an emphatic fashion. What's the point of having a rematch? It doesn't make any sense. Why would you have a rematch if he got, it's not like it was a controversial finish. He got his ass kicked. Why are you going to have the same match again? It's going to yield the same result. And we already saw that Big Show beat down already. It already happened last week. We're going to watch it again. Nia Jax defeated Emma. There's nothing really to write home about. So, you had that segment with Emma. She just gets beat. That's it. So, what's the point of the backstage segment? She just gets beat. Nothing's going to come of it. Okay. I guarantee you they won't even show Emma next week. That's probably what's going to happen. Neville, Tazawa, and Davari had a segment. Titus says that he canceled the match between him and Davari. I can't say Davari with this guy because this is not the Davari I know, the Davari that was with Muhammad Hassan. It's a guy that kind of looks like that Davari, but he's not the same Davari. So it's kind of confusing because that Davari is still pretty prevalent, when I think of WWE because it was from one of the most controversial, things that they did in WWE, the Muhammad Hassan, Davari controversy. So, I'm not so quick to accept this as another Davari. Another name would be nice. Why are they naming the stars the same exact thing? And okay, if this is his real name, I'm sorry, but it's just you can't have two guys with the same fucking name and they look exactly the same and they got the same almost not the same gimmick, but they're all playing off of the fact that they're from the Middle East and that's the whole gimmick. You know what I mean? So You can't have two people with the same fucking names. And that Davari was also in the cruiserweight division after that segment. I mean, after that whole controversy with Hassan, back in '05. So Neville comes out, and I'm not, it's just Neville's accent, I guess. He comes out, and even before that, I got to talk about Tozawa. So Titus O'Neil canceled his match. Tozawa comes out, he starts going, ah, 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 ah. I'm like, in the crowd, some people in the crowd start doing it too. If you're a nerd going, ah, 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 I feel extremely sorry for you. I mean, like, is anybody supposed to get behind this guy? I had somebody like lash out at me last week in my Raw review when I put down this, Tozawa guy. It seems whenever, and this just proves my point about the Meltzer Magoos and the Wade Kellers and all the other hardcore marks out there, hardcore fans, the marks, the smarks. Say one thing about a Japanese wrestler, say anything about an indie darling, say anything about anyone who's worked 15 years on the indie circuit, and you're going to get flamed. You're going to get somebody on your case. They're going to get upset. They're going to cry. I swear to God, these people are the biggest snowflakes, and you see it all the time. This is all they fucking care about. You have Meltzer Magoo over there. He just recently had an orgasm because he was watching G1. I don't even know what G1 is. What is G1? Is that an apartment? Sounds like something that's an apartment number. That's not a fucking wrestling promotion. G1. Meltzer Magoo's talking about G1. He saw a bunch of sexy Japanese men. Hey, let me tell you something here, guys. I remember this as a kid playing Street Fighter 2 with the Honda, and shit like that. I've got a piece of advice, a little something to tell Meltzer Magoo and all these other people. If you think that wrestling, if that excites you, Japanese wrestling, that excites you, half naked Japanese men, if you like the Asian persuasion, if you're into that Oriental oral and shit like that, let me tell you some little piece of advice here. Go to a Japanese bathhouse or a Japanese massage house or some shit like that. That way you can see fully naked Japanese men, and you don't have to worry about the tights obstructing your view of the nether regions, Magoo. Just saying. And that also goes out to all the YWCers who love Japanese wrestling, who, get their jollies off to Japanese wrestling. Just trying to help you guys out. Just trying to further your entertainment. Get you better adjusted to Japanese culture. Because as everybody knows, your YWC champ is an expert when it comes to Japanese wrestling and Japanese culture. You could just call me Mr. Japan. I'm just like an expert on that shit. Just saying. But anyway, like, are you guys gonna like his Shop Zone, or I'm saying Shop Zone? It hasn't been called Shop Zone in how long? WWE Shop. Are they gonna put out a T-shirt that says ah 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 ah? Okay, I want to get some royalties if that actually is going to be a shirt. I'm just saying, if that's actually going to be a shirt, I want to see some dollar bills my way, because I'm giving you some good ideas here, that are merchandise. So Davari attacks both of them. I like Neville's promo here. Instead of having a match, at least they tried to do something here. They did. I mean, guys, also, here's the thing. And someone said my comments are racist, and I already said that even before in my Battleground review when I was talking about Naka Murphy and shit. Another guy that everybody loves. Just because he's Japanese. Just because he's Japanese. People love that Asian persuasion. Um, they get all bent out of shape because, I say the truth. These guys don't get far. Why has there never been a real Japanese world champion? Yokozuna doesn't count because he wasn't really Japanese. Why hasn't there been one? Because none of them speak English. They all come, they sign them, they all have problems communicating, and then, it's too much to pay for a translator to follow them around 24/7. Like they can't understand when they're trying to, like, when the agents are trying to talk to them. It's like nonsense already. So that's why none of these Japanese guys get that far. That's why, obviously, the best place for them is New Japan or All Japan or, whatever the other Japanese promotions are. I guess G1, the other one that Magoo is talking about, that's also the other one. But they also have some other thing, Zero or whatever it's called. I don't know, but that's why they're better off there, where they, they're used to that. They book wrestling much differently there. Wrestling is more about the wrestling and the crisp and clean moves. Um, anyway, Jason Jordan has a promo backstage, and I don't know what Wade Keller's talking about. That, like, Jordan seems sinister in this promo. I'm not really getting that. He's talking about body language. Keller is a real body language expert. I don't understand, like, what Wade Keller does, and I've never understood this. He'll, like, write something, and then he'll, like, make a big guess about it. He'll say how he feels about the match, and he'll be like, "Oh, there's going to be a falling out between him and Kurt Angle." Like, how would he know this? You're just, like, making predictions pretty much. You're not a wrestling journalist. You don't have any inside info. Just about every single thing this guy reports on doesn't happen, or he's wrong about. This guy's made so many mistakes, and I don't know if it really exists. Like, like, you don't have, like, a press pass or anything. Real, like, sports journalists, they have press passes and shit. Like, for Major League Baseball and the NBA, so they're, like, allowed to go talk to the wrestlers. These people have to, like, they have to bribe wrestlers into interviews and stuff. It's like a dirty business. At least with the sports journalists, they're actually doing it the right way. It's on the up and up. But, like, wrestling, they have to, like, do it in such a dirty, dingy, like, back alley way. It's almost, like, ridiculous. It's like, first of all, if you're calling yourself a wrestling journalist, it pretty much shows that you've kind of failed at being a journalist. You weren't good enough to work for any of the big companies or newspapers. You had to settle for wrestling on the internet. And you're not even writing for a big publication like Pro Wrestling Illustrated or the WWE magazine, for instance. You're writing for some lowly shit on the internet. And your only audience are the biggest nerds and the marks who are following along with Tazawa with the chants. That's the people that you're reading with. That's the intelligence level. Don't try to use any big words now, Keller, because remember, the IQ points of your audience, it's not that high. Just saying. Then you had Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins backstage. And I have to say this again, guys. This is so damn gay, it's almost ridiculous. I mean, these guys, it's like Dean Ambrose doesn't want to have anything to do with them. Seth Rollins is, like, begging and pleading with him, "Take me back." Once again, I mean, it's, like, pathetic. It really is. It's like the ex-lover trying to get, the other person back. It's, like, ridiculous already. Like, this is supposed to be the guy. This is a former multi-time world champion reduced to begging and pleading for somebody to be friends with him. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my fucking life, and it's quite homosexual, I must say. It would be understandable if they wrote this storyline between a guy and a girl, then it might be entertaining TV. But between two guys, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of creepy in a way, and it's just, you look back and you're like, these are two guys that obviously have a lot of talent and potential, And the fact that they would write them in this manner is just completely, like, you know, quite perplexing to say the least. Why are they making it so, like, homo? It's like I said, I'm uncomfortable watching it. The begging and the pleading week after week. I mean, man, it makes Rollins, like, makes him look small. It makes him look sad. It makes him look pathetic. Up next, you had Bayley defeating Sasha. Corey Graves is trying to sell that this is not the same Bayley that faced Alexa Bliss before. If that's the case, then why wasn't Bayley more vicious and aggressive during the match? Why didn't she, like, cheat to win or something to show a more aggressive, no holds barred style? And if she's not the same, then why did they have her cut the promo just telling Sasha, oh, that we're going to still be friends after this? That's not a different personality. That's not a change in the character. That's some BS reason to write in an excuse of why we're seeing the same match in SummerSlam that we already saw at a more minor pay-per-view just months ago. I mean, like, and the thing is, now we're just going to have a plain match. At least the last match was, had the kendo sticks. It was the Singapore Kane on a pole match. Now you're going to fast forward and you're just going to have a plain old wrestling match. It's like a giant step backwards. It's like the whole Hardys and Cesaro Sheamus thing. You go from cage match, which is a feud ender, and then you go to the Iron Man match. You, like, still have more matches. Anyway, I think they really missed an opportunity here. Alexa Bliss had a promo. They had her on commentary. I don't think that she really, managed to say anything good here. I don't know what happened. Usually Bliss brings some great material. This time, I don't know. It wasn't there. Jason Jordan defeats Curt Hawkins, with the belly to back neck breaker. He looked good. He was aggressive. And Wade Keller seems to think that Kurt Angle is going to tell him eventually that he's too aggressive. Where does Keller get this crap from? Like, seriously, he cooks this up in his mind, comes up with crazy stories, and people are going to read it and believe it. I mean, this is what people actually pay for. At least the Raw reviews that he does are for free. But he also does the podcast, and that shit is just total nonsense. And he's actually, like, what do they charge? Like $10 for that crap? And that guy likes to spew his garbage. It's a bunch of fucking shit what he says. What do you mean that Kurt Angle is going to say he's too aggressive? Kurt Angle was an aggressive wrestler. Remember when he used to pull his straps down, scream like primordially, and fucking, lock on the ankle lock? He used to break people's ankles all the time. Remember that? So being too aggressive, if that's what Kurt Angle ends up saying, then it's not going to make a lot of sense anyway. But this is just what Keller's saying off the top of his head. The storyline just started. In fact, there wasn't even enough because that was it. We get a recap. We get Kurt Angle in the back with Emma. A pre-match thing with Jordan. This is the GM's son. They just announced it. They should have laced this whole entire show with Jason Jordan to the point where when they drive the point home that Jordan is Angle's son and this guy is going to be big. Instead, he's just a guy wrestling Curt Hawkins. I mean, right off the bat, instead of a guy that everybody beats, right off the bat, we should have had something big. Something huge already with Jason Jordan. We're already like, we feel like very invested in the storyline already because it was so random where it came from. It was rumored for a while that they were going to pick somebody from American Alpha, but all they did was go with the opposite guy that was predicted. So, they really had to do something here tonight, but you knew that they weren't going to do it. At least you had like a couple of segments with them, but it should have been a lot more. They really should have went into overdrive with this storyline because it's a It's a big announcement, and they just are going to end it, just like that, just the match, and don't mention it again. The Revival beat the best thing since sliced bread after the Hardy Boys come out with the distraction. Uh, I can't help but feel once again that the Hardys are just, I don't know. Also, the Hardys were involved in a segment backstage with Bailey for Sonics with the pretzel talks. Why do they do these things? I mean, honestly. I know, they're looking for some extra cash maybe if they get the wrestlers themselves instead of just having the announcers read the advertisements, and they want to have like the wrestlers get involved. But these things are not clever. They're always stupid as hell. And every single time they do it, they get made fun of. So why they keep doing them anyway? But let's forget about the pretzel dogs. The Hardys just feel like another team on the roster. And I was already planning for this video to go short. And look, we're already into a half an hour, so cancel those plans. Anyway, the Hardys, they're not going to go broken. I don't know. One week they're delightful. The next week they're not doing the broken thing. So what was it going to be, guys? Are we teasing it? Are we doing it? Are we not doing it? What's the deal with the broken thing? You guys going to get sued? Are you not going to get sued? I don't know what the plan is here for what they're doing with the Hardys, because so far I don't get it. They're getting involved here. Cesaro and Sheamus are just in the back watching it all on the monitor. I don't know. I don't feel like anything's happening here with the Hardys. These guys come back, and for years and years, everybody was saying, "Oh, why don't Jeff and Matt just come to WWE? Why don't they come to WWE? Why doesn't Jeff forget about the TNA contract already? Come home already." They're back home, and now they're not doing anything with them. So it's like, why did they even bother? Uh, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, the ex-lovers, the lovesick puppy, Seth Rollins. They defeat Miz and the Miztourage, and that's your main event. That's it. Then at the end, Seth stands there with the fist bump. Dean walks out on him. Seth Rollins probably cried himself to sleep. That's the main event. I mean, honestly, you open up the show with a big brawl. It's awesome. Good way to open the show. You've got this whole thing with Kurt Angle, and the best thing that they could come up with is mid-card shit. Like, once again, the IC title is in the main event of the show. But what is this nonsense? Why do they keep doing this? They want to have like everything but the main eventers in the main event. It's the main event. It's reserved for main eventers, not mid-carders. If that was it, they'd call it the mid-card. Not the main event. That's why it has the name, hence the name main event, because usually main eventers are going to be in the main event. So now we have to get into definitions of the show, start breaking it down. This is how ridiculous this show is. Look how poorly it's formatted. You start off the show with, doing a huge, massive thing, 10 right off the bat. You've got a great segment to start things off, firing everybody up. A good way to open the show, very energetic, a big brawl, a big announcement. And then things just sort of slow down and just start declining as the night goes on. It's like, aren't they excited to be on live TV anymore? Aren't they excited to put on a show? That now it's just like they just sleepwalk through this thing. Why not have some fun with it? Why not? You've had a big announcement with Jason Jordan. People are giving WWE a hard time. Have fun with it. Go throughout the show, do different things with Angle, do different things with Jason Jordan. I don't know. Show them on a Ferris wheel together. I don't know. Do something with them. You could do something funny with it. You could do something entertaining with it. That's the other thing. Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan are not together on the show. Did anybody think about that? He's so happy to finally find out, who his son is. And they're not even together on the show. Does Kurt Angle maybe accompany him out to the ring? No. That's also another thing. Like, they're talking about it. Angle's so proud. He's watching him on the monitor, though. I get that. But the thing is, it's like you have all these opportunities to do great stories to the point even where Emma is talking about a great storyline, but they're not even going to do it. Not maybe a great storyline, but a decent one anyway. So there you go, guys. There's your Raw review. Once again, a show with many opportunities to do great television and great storylines and develop characters. It's right there, like right before your eyes. You could even just think of things off the top of your head they could do. But once again, it's a show with, the bare minimum effort. I'm sorry, but, no one's going to watch a show where it's obvious that they're not trying anymore. You want to ask yourself why people don't watch this show anymore? I'll tell you why, because I hear it most of the time anyway. Every time I talk to people, and like I say, like, oh, well, I still watch it. The thing is, it's like people say why. Like they obviously know that it's been bad. And most people, I'll be honest, they don't like wrestling. Most people stopped watching wrestling around 2001, 2002, and they lost interest thereafter. It's not this thing where people say, oh, everyone stopped watching 07, 08. That's your opinion. The facts and the ratings, and everybody pretty much solidifies it around me. Most people like, they know The Rock, they know Stone Cold, they know Triple H, they know Kane, they know The Undertaker. You ask somebody who fuckboy Balor is or who Seth Rollins is. Seth freaking Rollins. That's who Seth Rollins is. No, that's not anybody to them. You watch it and everybody will give you the same opinion. It's not as good as it used to be, or they'll say it's garbage. Just about everybody says the same thing. That's basically everybody has the same opinion. Everybody knows it's not as good as it used to be. So doesn't I know McMahon lives in a bubble, especially now, but all these people that work for WWE, nobody tells McMahon. They're all cowards. Nobody stands up to McMahon. Like, and they gotta just know they're not as good as they used to be. You even like hear them sometimes admit it when they were doing that Monday Night War show where they said they didn't feel they needed to go full force anymore because they weren't in the Monday Night Wars. They don't want to give an effort anymore on this show. They don't think it's necessary. It is necessary, though. I know that they say their profits are up and everything. Okay, that's great. So why don't you want to get the ratings up? I guess the status quo is just fine with them. Or whatever, guys. Anyway, till next time.